Hello students, this lesson is an introduction to arrays, a very important concept in C programming. After completing this lesson, you will be able to tell the definition of an array, you will be able to declare an array and access its individual elements. You will be able to calculate memory address of an array element and populate array elements via three different methods. So, what's an array? It's basically a collection of data elements with same data type. Same data type. That keyword is very important. For example, in an integer array, you cannot suddenly go ahead and put float or character type of elements. It has to be integer only. Well, and for an array, the elements will be stored in consecutive memory locations and referenced by an index. It is also known as subscript. So if the value of the index or subscript is 0, then it is essentially meaning the first element. If the value of index is 1, then it is basically meaning the second element, and so on. Now, how can we declare an array from a C program? You have to specify three things. First, you have to specify the data type. In this example, it is short. Then you have to specify the name of the array, and then within square bracket you have to specify the size of the array, which essentially means how many number of elements in this array. So if you look at this declaration again, that basically means an array is going to be created with the name marks, which is having 10 number of elements, and each element is with short data type. Let's take the second example. Here we are accessing a specific element. You can see that for accessing an element, what we essentially need to do is specify the name of the array, and then within square bracket you specify the value of the index. So here the value of the index is 0, so which essentially means the first element in the array. Okay, so as a result of that assignment operation, you can now see that the first element is populated with the value 99. Note that along with this subscript, you can not only specify an integer value, you can also specify a complex expression. So for example, instead of 0, you can put something like 2 plus 3, or say I plus 2, and all the sort of expressions. The only condition is that that the expression must be evaluating some integer value. So that is about array subscript. And regarding array data type, so while specifying an array, you can specify any valid data types, not just short. It can be integer, float, character, and all these things. So you have just seen how to access an individual array element. So for example, marks 0 to specify the first element. It is so possible that using using a variable as a subscript, you can actually specify the different array elements. For example, while you're trying to specify marks I, so if the value of I is 0, then marks 0 essentially means the first element. If the value of I is 1, then essentially it means the second element, and so on. So within a loop, you can vary the value of this variable, say in this example from 0 to 9, and I mean here in this example it is printing the value of that variable as well as the corresponding array element. Please note that this variable is specifically called as subscript variable. The array elements are all stored in consecutive memory locations. So if you are taking a specific array element, say AI, then you can calculate the address of that element's address in memory, provided you know the base address or the starting address of the array, and you know the size of each element. Now, if the element type is short, then the size value is going to be 2, and which is to be multiplied with how many number of elements before. So I is the index of the current element, and LB indicates the index of the first element in the array. LB essentially means lower bound, and please note that the value of lower bound LB is always 0 in C programming. Since it is always 0, it can also, the formula can also boil down to address of AI equal to base address plus W into I. So with that, let's solve this quiz. Let's have a pause and come back with the answer as soon as possible. Well, so you have to replace base address with 1000 and this W with 2 and I with 4. So the memory address for marks for element is going to be 1008. Now, you can also calculate the length of the array, provided you know the lower bound of the array and upper bound of the array. So this essentially means the index of the first element. You know, for C programming it is always 0, and this indicates the index of the last element. So if you take an example like where the value of LB is 0 and UB as 9, so what is the length of that array? Take a quick pause. Yep, the correct answer is 10. Now, you can populate the array elements in 3 different methods. First is initialization. So at the time of declaring the array, you can put the initial values within curly bracket, all separated by comma, and well, you have to use a equal to symbol. So as a result of that, marks 0 will be getting 99 value, marks 1 will be getting 82 value, marks 2 will be getting value 78, etc. So it is also possible to take input for the array element directly. So in this example, within a loop, it will be getting the input for marks 0, marks 1, marks 2, all these array elements. You have to use an ampersand so that it can indicate an address. It is also possible to assign values for an array element. So within a loop, here the array element is getting populated with some other value. In this case, the other value is coming from a different array, but you can also use a hard-coded value or say even some variable value. Okay, thank you.